If Excel crashes the second you open one specific workbook, you're not dealing with random instability. You're dealing with a file that triggers something Excel can't handle. The goal is simple. Get the workbook open long enough to save a clean copy, or extract the data so you can rebuild safely. Start by making a copy of the file and working only on the copy. That protects you from making things worse. Next, try opening Excel first, then opening the workbook from inside Excel. That small change bypasses some add-ins and preview handlers that can crash Excel. If it still fails, don't keep double-clicking and hoping. Repeated crashes can corrupt the file further. Instead, follow a controlled sequence. Safe mode, disable add-ins, isolate external links, and reduce what Excel loads at startup. By the end, you'll know whether this is an add-in issue, a damaged workbook, a bad printer driver, or an external connection that hangs Excel. Next step. Before you change settings, confirm the problem is the workbook, not Excel itself. First, open Excel and create a blank workbook. If Excel crashes even when blank, you're in Excel environment territory, like add-ins, drivers, or a broken Office install. If Excel is stable until you open that one file, focus on workbook-specific causes like corruption, huge formulas, external links, or a broken pivot cache. Next, test the file on another computer if possible. If it opens elsewhere, your local Excel setup is the trigger. If it fails everywhere, the file is likely damaged or contains something that reliably breaks Excel. Also check where the file lives. Opening from a network share, cloud synced folder, or email attachment can add delays and permission issues that look like crashing. Copy it to a local folder with a short path like C:temp and try again. This step alone resolves a surprising number of won't load cases. Next step. Now use Excel Safe Mode. Safe Mode starts Excel with minimal features, and it disables most add-ins and customizations that commonly cause crashes. The key idea is isolation. If the workbook opens in Safe Mode, the file may be fine, and the crash is caused by something Excel loads normally. Once you're in, immediately save the workbook under a new name. That creates a fresh container and can remove some minor corruption. Then close Excel and reopen normally to see if the new copy behaves better. If it still crashes outside Safe Mode, you've learned something important. The workbook is sensitive to add-ins, startup files, or Excel options. If the workbook does not open even in Safe Mode, that points more strongly to file corruption, broken objects, or external connections that Excel tries to resolve during load. Either way, Safe Mode is your first clean yes or no test, and it tells you which branch of fixes to follow next. Next step. If Safe Mode works, the next suspect is add-ins. Add-ins can hook into workbook open events, recalculate formulas, or scan content, and any of that can crash Excel. Disable them in 2 layers. First, COM add-ins. Second, Excel add-ins, like analysis tools or third-party connectors. Turn them off, restart Excel, then try opening the workbook again. Do this in a controlled way. Disable all, test once, then re-enable one at a time to find the culprit. Also check the Excel startup folders. Excel can automatically open files from specific startup paths, and a bad workbook or hidden add-in there can destabilize Excel before your file even loads. If you find files in startup folders, temporarily move them out and test again. The win condition here is simple. Once the workbook opens reliably with add-ins disabled, you can keep the problematic add-in off, update it, or replace it. That's often the cleanest long-term fix. Next step. If Excel still crashes, remove the extras Excel tries to load with the workbook. Start by disabling hardware graphics acceleration. Some display drivers don't play nicely with Excel, especially with complex charts or conditional formatting. Next, check the default printer. It sounds unrelated, but Excel queries printer settings for page layout and can hang or crash with a bad driver. Set your default printer to a standard option and retry. Then consider protected view and file blocking. If the file came from email or the internet, Windows may mark it as downloaded. Unblock the file and its properties, copy it locally, and try again. Also avoid opening directly from preview panes or file explorers that render previews. The theme here is reducing what Excel has to negotiate during open. You're trying to get a stable open once, so you can save a clean copy and then reintroduce features after the file is safe. Next step. Next, try Excel's built-in repair path. Open and repair. This is designed for workbooks that are partially corrupted, and it can recover structure, values, and sometimes formulas. Use it when the file crashes Excel, opens blank, or opens and then immediately closes. If repair fails, try extract data. Extract data is more aggressive. It aims to pull out values and formulas, but you may lose formatting, objects, and some advanced features. That trade-off is often worth it, because your priority is getting the content back. After a successful repair or extraction, save the recovered workbook with a new name, then close and reopen to confirm it's stable. If it opens, do a quick sanity check. Sheet count, key totals, and a few critical formulas. Don't assume everything is perfect. Repair is a recovery tool, not a guarantee, but it's one of the fastest ways to turn a won't-load workbook into something you can work with again. Next step. If repair doesn't work, the workbook may be choking during calculation. Large models can crash simply because Excel tries to recalc everything on open. The workaround is to stop automatic calculation temporarily. Set calculation to manual, then open the workbook. If it opens, save a copy immediately. Now you can control recalculation in smaller steps, like calculating one sheet at a time or replacing volatile formulas. Volatile formulas recalc frequently, like indirect, offset, and some complex array formulas. Another pressure point is conditional formatting and data validation across huge ranges. Those features can balloon file complexity. Once the workbook is open, you can reduce the load, limit formatting to used ranges, remove unused named ranges, and convert heavy formulas to values where appropriate. The key is not make it pretty. The key is make it open reliably. After stability, you can rebuild the parts you actually need with better structure and fewer recalculation traps. Next step. Another common crash cause is external connections and links. When a workbook opens, Excel may try to refresh queries, connect to databases, open linked workbooks, or resolve web data. If any of those sources are slow, missing, or blocked, Excel can freeze or crash. The fastest test is to open the workbook while preventing updates to links and queries. If it opens, immediately save a copy with link updates disabled. Then audit what it's connected to. Look for data connections, Power Query refresh settings, and workbook links to other files. If you find links to network paths, old file locations, or shared drives, update them or break them. If you rely on the links, change refresh to manual and refresh only when you're ready. This turns a fragile workbook into a stable one. External data is powerful, but it needs guardrails. Your goal is to make opening the workbook a safe action, not a gamble. Next step. Sometimes the crash is caused by a single damaged sheet, chart, pivot table, or embedded object. The trick is to open the workbook without loading everything at once. If you can get it to open even briefly, try saving each sheet to a new workbook, one at a time, starting with the most important data. If you can't open it at all, try importing the content into a fresh workbook. You can also copy data out by opening the file through alternative paths, like using Excel's ability to import from a workbook as a data source. The goal is isolation. Identify the one component that triggers the crash. Pivot tables can be a big offender if the pivot cache is corrupted. Charts can crash if they reference broken ranges. Embedded objects, like old OLE items, can also destabilize Excel. Once you isolate the bad component, you can rebuild that part instead of losing the entire workbook. Next step. File format and file size matter more than people think. Older formats and heavily bloated workbooks are more likely to crash on open. If you can open the file even once, save it as a new .xlsx or .xlsm, depending on whether you truly need macros. If you don't need macros, moving from .xlsm to .xlsx can remove an entire class of issues. Also consider stripping the workbook down. Remove unused sheets, delete hidden named ranges you don't need, and clear formatting beyond the used range. Images and shapes can inflate file size and sometimes corrupt. If the workbook is shared or has legacy sharing features, convert it to a modern format and avoid legacy shared workbook settings. Then store the cleaned version in a stable location, with a shorter path and a simple file name. These steps don't just fix a crash, they reduce the chance it comes back. Next step. If the workbook seems fine on another machine, focus on your Excel installation and profile. Start with updating Office and Windows, because many crash bugs are fixed in updates. Then run an Office repair. A quick repair is fast, and an online repair is more thorough. Also consider your user profile settings. Excel stores preferences, add-in states, and sometimes corrupted settings that can follow you. Resetting Excel settings can help, but do it carefully because it can remove customizations you rely on. Another underappreciated factor is antivirus or endpoint security. Some security tools scan files aggressively on open, and large workbooks can trigger timeouts or crashes. As a test, temporarily exclude the folder where the workbook lives, following your organization's policy. If that stabilizes Excel, you've found the cause. The point is to separate bad file from bad environment, then fix the correct one. Next step. If you suspect corruption but need maximum recovery, use version history and backups strategically. If the file is in a synced storage system, check version history and restore a version that opens successfully. If you have Windows file history or backups, restore to a separate folder so you can compare versions safely. Also check for auto-recover files. Auto-recover can contain a workable copy even when the main file is broken. Once you recover a version that opens, don't just keep working in it. Immediately save a new, clean master copy. Then rebuild the last missing changes manually if needed. This avoids dragging hidden corruption forward. If the workbook is business critical, consider splitting it. Separate raw data, calculations, and reporting into different files. That reduces the blast radius of future corruption. Recovery is not just about getting the file open once. It's about getting back to a stable workflow. Next step. Once you've recovered the workbook, take 2 minutes to prevent the next crash. First, keep external links and query refresh set to manual, unless you truly need automatic refresh. Second, avoid volatile formulas when a stable alternative exists. Third, keep your used ranges tight. Formatting entire columns across many sheets is a classic way to bloat files. Fourth, be careful with massive pivot caches. If the source data is huge, consider using a data model approach or summarizing before pivoting. Finally, adopt a simple versioning habit. Save major changes as new versions, especially before adding new data sources or complex formulas. That gives you a safe rollback point. If you're working in a team, agree on where the master file lives and avoid editing from email attachments. Stability in Excel is mostly about reducing surprises at open. Make opening the file boring, and your future self will thank you. Next step. Let's wrap this into a simple decision path you can reuse. If Excel crashes even with a blank workbook, fix the environment. Updates, repair, add-ins, drivers, and security scanning. If Excel is stable but one workbook crashes, start with safe mode and add-ins. If safe mode works, disable add-ins and startup files until it opens normally. If safe mode fails, use open and repair, then extract data. If it opens but crashes during load, control calculation and stop link refresh. If the file is still unstable, isolate the bad component by moving sheets and rebuilding pivots, charts, and objects. And if you need a fast rollback, use version history or backups to restore a known good copy, then save a clean master. If you want, I can also provide a printable checklist version of this flow. For now, tell me this in the comments. Do your crashes happen more often with macros or with external data links? A or B? If this walkthrough helped, subscribe for more practical Excel troubleshooting. Subscribe to keep optimizing your workflow and get back more of your time.